Africa Prime, brought to you by Jameson's Select Reserve.
Still with me is Tryphosa Ramano. Now, you're also the part of the African Women Chartered Accountants Association as well. What's quite interesting to note, there's 26,000 chartered accountants in South Africa, only 3% are women. So you don't only focus on ensuring that people are empowered from what we see on the African side of things, but you're also a very strong voice for women. So tell us about that and how you plan to see that number increasing.
The chartered accountancy profession is one of the very important professions all over the world, and secondly also in South Africa. But it has not yet transformed. The South African Institute of Chartered Accountants is trying, but it is not enough with that, because it takes 7 years to qualify as a chartered accountant. So what we're doing as AWCA, this year we're celebrating 10 years. When we started, we said we want to create awareness, number one, and secondly, we want to make sure that when we create that awareness, we develop that young girl into becoming an effective leader in society. And we do that through a number of programs. And the number of programs, we do school visits, universities, student chapters, and from there, when one enters into the profession, we have a number of programs. We've got what we call power teas, whereby we meet on a Saturday, mentor and mentee, and from there onwards, we find that we have a leader in society who tells us about how to balance being a woman in business, how to be a mother, a wife, a partner, and an executive.
Because it is a very tough job being a chartered
Yes.
accountant. So would you say that this actually stands in the way that women just have very different priorities? So even if they do then succeed in getting that degree, they always find that they have to pick between the two.
They have to pick between the two. But at the end of the day, we're also trying to say, be yourself. You must do not give up the femininity. And that's what we have realized. Most of the CAs, when they get into the market, they want to behave exactly the same as men because it's a tough job. But at the same time, then they forget about their femininity. So we're trying to entrench that. Do not forget your femininity. Make sure that you are authentic, but at the same time, be good in what you do, because people will respect you for that.
Tryphosa, I look at you and I admire you because you're very young, and only in your 20s you already were a board member at Kaya FM. You've done so much within your career. How did you manage to balance the two?
To balance the two, you need to have support. I had great support from my mother, who, when I started working, she stopped everything. She said, I'm going to help you to achieve whatever you want to achieve. So as much as I had kids as well, so I knew that when I get home, I am much more balanced. My mother is there, my kids are well looked after, then I can do whatever I want to do. And it goes back to what society was all about in the past, whereby we knew our mothers would look after our children while the parents will go to work. So that's effectively what I think it has actually helped me. But at the same time, it's the people you surround yourself with. So I always surround myself with people who are much more positive, who adds value to my life. And if I don't know anything, I ask. If I'm battling, I ask. So the issue of mentorship is very important. I think that's what actually kept me going. And also passion as well. I'm very passionate about what I do.
Do you take your work home with you?
No.
No. Some say that
for
you to succeed, you need to live, breathe, eat your work for 24 hours.
When I'm at work, I concentrate, I do what I have to do, and I finish it very quickly. When I go home, it's my time with my family. People laugh at me. I say, I watch Generation, I watch Movango at home. And they say, how do you get time? I said, that is my time to unwind, to actually think and plan for tomorrow or to plan for the week.
You grew up in Mamelodi. You have a vendor surname. So tell us a little bit about your early years, and tell us a little bit about your history and your early years in terms of growing up in Mamelodi.
My surname, I was born in Mamelodi. My surname is a vendor surname. And I kept on asking my grandmother, who's late now, say, where exactly do we come from? And my grandmother said, actually, her grandfather is a vendor, was living in Venda, ran away from Venda, and went into Bolobedi. And in Bolobedi there in Limpopo. And that's where they are stationed at. So if you go to Bolobedi, you'll find a Ramano clan or a Ramano village there. Also in Venda, there is also a Ramano village. So that's effectively our connection from Venda.
Growing up, what really inspired you? What made you, did you ever think that you would be in this position today? Were you always a very ambitious child?
I was always ambitious, but I never thought I'll be in this position. But when I was at school, I used to sell sweets. I used to have that entrepreneurial mind. I was very intelligent at school.
What was your markup on those sweets back then?
The markup was actually 100% because I would charge, because I would walk distance to go and buy them at the wholesale, which was called Winko in Deneboom in Mamelodi. And then from there onwards, I would sell them at school. And I would also sell my lunchbox as well, because I knew there were those kids who don't eat breakfast at home, but they've got lots of money and they could buy my lunchbox. And lunchtime, I would say I'm on a diet, but that was the way of maximizing income. Then I can buy myself shoes, I can buy myself something. So I had always had that entrepreneurial mind. What actually drove me was that it was passion, and I said, I do not want to see my children live in the same condition as I was living. So it drove me. I said, irrespective of what, as much as when I was in matric, I became pregnant at the age of 18, I gave birth to a very beautiful girl. I said, this should not be the end. Actually, this drives me more because I have to look after this child.
That's unbelievable. And in your 20s, having a little child, you were also a board member at Kaya FM. Tell us about how you got to that position.
I guess when I say you must surround yourself with the people that adds value to your life, and also when people ask you something, you actually contribute to them. A person, my character is a character that is outgoing, and because I'm passionate, I like helping people. I was approached because I used to be on YFM board. I was approached because there was a quota, they needed women, and I was a chartered accountant, I was working at a merchant bank. I was approached by one of my ABSIP colleagues who said, Kaya FM, they're looking for a board member, and are you keen? I said, oh, no problem. Let them approach me. And I was approached, and then I said, okay, that's fine. I'm keen to sit on the board because I understand a little bit about radio, and I think I can add value in that.
Okay, so let's also touch on the fact that you started Basadi Investments in 1996 with a 200 Rand investment into Whiphold. What were you doing there? Was this a gamble?
Oh, I can't remember that Basadi investment. What happened then? I was still a trainee accountant at Pricewaterhouse. And I saw this opportunity every time the Jewish girls and boys talking about Johannesburg Stock Exchange and all of that. I used to admire them because I didn't know exactly what they were talking about. And I used to say, can you please teach me? Can you please teach me? And they will tell me, this is how you invest in the stock exchange. You need a broker and whatever. So then I asked one guy, I said, can you get your broker to be my broker? But I had no money. He said, oh, sure, that is my brother. So he put me in touch to his brother, and then I arranged the women in Mamelodi, some of my friends and some of my cousins. I said, let's form a group. Let's call Basadi Investment. We'll register a company, and then we must contribute 200 Rand every month and invest in the Johannesburg Stock Exchange. We did that, and we were meeting every month. And one of the people that was keen to support us actually was Stephen Kesef at Investec, because we went to Investec, we approached Stephen. We didn't have a clue what we wanted to do, but Stephen was keen. He said, I'll give you 500,000 and you can start, but one of you must stop working and focus on this so that you can become a pure investment holding company for future. And everybody was looking at me as if I'm the one who's gonna have to leave the job and run this, and I had 3 kids. But we were so overwhelmed with the response to an extent that we decided, no, hang on, we can't do it. We don't want to take people's money because we need to be accountable. But when Whiphold started raising money in the market, we became one of those that says we will participate. We put our little money into Whiphold. Even today, even though the group is no longer in existence, they are so happy. They say, oh, Tryphosa, we're still receiving dividends from Whiphold, because we also registered as individual in that aspect. But it was to create that awareness. It was very exciting.
Do you regret now not taking 500,000 Rand from Stephen Kesef back then?
I regret, actually. I regret, because probably we would have become something. But I guess there's a reason why we didn't become.
So you're a chartered accountant, but you're also very interested in philosophy, I hear, and literature.
Mm.
You're studying at JSE at the moment, by any chance?
I dropped out.
Did you drop?
And that's the only thing. When I put my mind to something, I don't stop. But the JSE, because I was working, and I didn't understand the process. When I applied, they wanted my matric certificate. I said, but why do you want matric certificate? I've got a BCom, I've got an honors, I'm a chartered accountant. I just want to do philosophy. I had to go and find my matric certificate at Malusi, which is the agents that deal with matric. Fortunately, they still have the records. But what interests me with philosophy is that you learn things outside of the box, because I read a lot. And I realize that also sometimes to understand the type of writing, the type of what a writer thinks, you need to do literature as well. So I tried to do that, but unfortunately I couldn't finish even first year.
Well, you can always just carry on reading and get your own degree,
right?
right?
That's what I do. Yeah.
I know that you're also a philanthropist because you assist a lot of people. And one of the reasons is because you had such a tough time growing up as well. A lot of the leaders that we have today actually grew up in townships, grew up in very tough environments. Do you think that they are doing enough to give back to the community?
I think many people are doing enough. It's just that people don't talk about it. And also we don't clap together to make sure that it becomes significant. So I found most of the people, they go to the communities where they grew up and they go and try and plow back. And I think that is the right philosophy. It is embedded in most of the black culture to actually go and help the communities that you come from. I go to my school called Vlakfontein High in Mamelodi every year to do career guidance. And I take everybody who's surrounding me. PPC will go, Whipple used to go there. Everybody goes there to actually support, to make sure that we enlighten them and give them opportunities about different careers. From there onwards, we provide bursaries, because I said, one cannot be the only one from the school who has done well, or that group of people during our time. We have to make sure that it becomes sustainable and make sure that children, they can see the role model, because we are no longer in the townships, and the children, they have missed this role modeling. So if you go back and plow back, use your own cash if you can, muscle the resources that you are with, make sure that we create, that will be a better South Africa actually.
Tryphosa, great to have you on the program. Thank you so very much for your insights and sharing your time with us. Much appreciated. Tryphosa Ramano joining us for Africa Prime. From me, Eleni, Giokos. We'll see you next time.